Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. And yes, it is a Wednesday. This is a bit weird. So I've been thinking about this for a while, uploading things on a Wednesday, which is kind of a nice point in between my usual Sunday and Friday uploads. I'm going to reserve the Wednesday videos to something a little bit more lifestyle related, so whether that's the occasional vlog, anything really that is just removed from beauty. There might be the occasional beauty video that goes up on a Wednesday, but I am going to try and keep it nice and sort of lifestyle, so there's something a little bit different. I'm not going to make any promises that this will be a weekly thing, but I think it'd be nice to have a little place to put some videos that may not necessarily be worthy of a Friday or a Sunday upload, but ones that I still want to put out, because at the end of the day this is my channel and I really want to start posting more of whatever I fancy. So that is what will happen on a Wednesday from now on. Super long rambly intro over. Today I'm going to talk about books, and I actually posted a photo on my Instagram recently of me sitting on my bed surrounded by books because I went onto Amazon. It was a late night Amazon order and I got a little bit crazy with buying the books, and summer is probably the time that I read the most, so I wanted to have a good few new additions to my summer reading list, and I ended up with piles and piles of books. This is just half of the pile that I have to show you here today. So I've never actually done a book haul before. I'm not sure how you're supposed to go about doing these things, but I'm just going to show you what I got. I haven't read any of these yet, but I think I will save that for another video. So once I get through a few of these, because let's be honest, it's going to take a while, I might do a reading roundup of my favourites. So yeah, let's just start picking books up from this intensely huge pile. So the first one I have here is Room. You'll probably see quite a theme running throughout these books in that I like to read the books of films. I love seeing films, I love going to the cinema, but I always like to make sure I've read the book before I see the film. So if there is a film that I really want to see, I will always try and read the book first. So that is what I'm doing here with Room. Obviously this came out a long time ago, but I've been meaning to read it for a while. I've heard this one is a complete tearjerker. A lot of you guys actually told me that when you read this you cried and cried, so don't know if I'm looking forward to that, but it's always good to have a book that I guess makes you feel something, so I think I'm going to save this for a time when I am not surrounded by people. So that is Room by Emma Donoghue. The next one is also a book that's being made into a film. I think this one is actually yet to come out, and this is The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. Now I saw the trailer for this and it looked like a film that I desperately wanted to see, so of course I went out and got the book. The story of this sounds really interesting. It's basically about a couple who live on a lighthouse, and then one day a baby washes up on shore and then they keep the baby and all sorts of things ensue. I try to avoid reading reviews of books, but I saw a couple for this and it's supposed to be just really beautifully written and just an incredible story. Also probably a little bit tear-jerking, but one that I think you won't be able to put down. I can see myself reading this in an afternoon and just being glued to it, so I'm looking forward to reading that. So next I have a book that I actually bought on recommendation from you guys. This is Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell, and I think this was in a video that I posted a long time ago with me and Darren. We did a Q&A and somebody asked us how we met, and basically the story that we told you guys seems to be the same story as in this book. So these two people meet and they sit on a bus and they don't really talk, but they listen to music together, which is actually how me and Darren basically met, on the bus to school. And I haven't read any Rainbow Rowell books, but I think they're quite light-hearted. Although a lot of you guys told me that you cried reading this. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but we will see. So this next one I've been meaning to pick up for years and years. I've been meaning to read it for so long. This is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. So many of you guys have told me that this is your favourite book, and I've heard so much about it. I mean, it's been made into a film now. It has such a following. I'm kind of worried that when I read this I'm going to be let down and disappointed because I've heard so much hype surrounding it. But I'm definitely going to read it. Again, I think I could probably get through this in an afternoon, so I just need to knuckle down and do it because I'm sure I'm going to love it. Something a little bit more light-hearted. I'm a massive fan of Bridget Jones and Helen Fielding. I think I actually read the Bridget Jones books before I saw the films many years ago, and she's brought out a new one. I think this came out last year. This is Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy, and obviously she has a baby in this one. A lot of people have said this is not anywhere near as good as the first two. I'm not sure if that's because of the story or the writing. It's been quite a long while in between the second book and this one, so I'm interested to read this and see, and it's pretty long. I think this is a lot longer than the other two, but I just love the character of Bridget. I identify so much with her, and yeah, I think this will be a really nice light-hearted read. I've got a sequel here to a book that I've already read this year, and this is After You by Jojo Moyes. I remember reading Me Before You and finishing it in a few hours, putting it down and then vowing to never go near it again because I was just so distraught after reading that book. It is very heart-wrenching and it deals with quite a heavy subject. It's not particularly light-hearted, although some of the book is very kind of funny and happy. Most of it is just a little bit soul-crushing. But then I saw that there was a sequel, and whenever there is a sequel to something, I can't really stop myself from reading it or from watching it because I just always need to know what happened next. I feel like the second one can't be quite as emotionally distressing as the first one. I'm not a massive fan of this type of, I guess you could call this chick lit, but I will read it, I will give it a go, and hopefully it will make me feel a bit happier than the last one did. Next, I have another book based on a film, or a film that was based on the book originally. So this is A Good Year by Peter Mayley, and I can't believe I haven't read this because this film, which stars Russell Crowe, as you can see on the cover here, is one of my all-time favourite films ever. It's set in the south of France, it's all about a vineyard and a French house, and I just love it. It's one of my favourite films. I'm hoping this book is going to give me the same kind of warm-hearted feeling that the film does because I just love it. It makes me feel so happy. It's one of those films that I put on when I'm having a bad day. So yeah, that is A Good Year. I did get one non-fiction book. I'm not a massive fan of non-fiction. I tend to kind of like my stories, but I've been meaning to read this for a while. This is Girl Boss by Sophie Amoruso. She is the founder and the CEO of Nasty Gal, and she is basically just a girl boss. And seeing as I am a girl boss as well, definitely know we're quite as fierce and successful as she seems to be, I thought this would be a really good thing to read because having your own business, working for yourself, I think it's always a good thing to be inspired by like-minded people, people that are doing the same thing and being in the creative field and just doing so well from it. I think no matter what career you're in, what job you do, if you are someone that strives to be very successful, I think this would be an amazing thing to read. And then I also got the Red Queen. I've heard a lot of people talking about this series. I think there are 3 books altogether in this series. There might be more than that, so let me know if I'm wrong. And this I think is very different to a lot of the other books that I have here today. It's kind of set in a bit of a dystopian society, which I don't really love to read when it comes to fiction, but most of the really good stories tend to be set in some kind of dystopian world. This one has a kind of fantasy element to it as well. It's about 2 types of classes, so you're either a red or a silver, and I've heard this be compared to things like The Hunger Games and Divergent, which are both series that I read pretty much cover to cover in a few days because I got so into them. So I'm hoping this will be the same. So that is my book haul for you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm definitely going to try and get through as many of these as possible and then come back with another video and talk about my favourites. So look out for that. And if there is anything else that you'd like to see me do on a Wednesday, now that we have this kind of Wednesday slot open up, please let me know below in the comments if you have anything that you want to see, and I'll see what I can do for you. So that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all soon. Bye!